Hello and welcome to the first episode of Comics as Told by Danny. I'm your host, Danny the Tree. Now, Free Comic Book Day 2026 has come and gone, and we got a lot of good stuff. From Marvel, DC kind of slacked this year, and, I don't know, man. I've been falling out of love with DC Comics. I was, the Green Lantern comics were really the thing that were holding me together, and then Hal Jordan left his title and they gave it to Kyler Rayner. So I'm like, oh God. And then instead of him doing anything interesting, me and this OC are gonna go to Hollywood and we're gonna be superstars. And hey, Wally West is gonna come with us sometime. Stupid. Anyway, so we got an advertisement for Hulk War Infernal Rage, which is gonna be after Infernal Hulk closes out in August, I believe, they're going to take I think they said a 7-month break, and then I guess in January they're going to begin Hulk War Infernal Rage. I'll get to that later. But the big summer event this year is Avengers Armageddon. The guy Chip Zdarsky, who's writing it, is being very tight-lipped about what the hell is going to happen. But the one thing we know is that the Red Hulk has amassed his own army of American flag colored Hulks that I'm calling the United States of Smash. Okay, so in the preview, we literally get to see him fight a bunch of the Avengers. We see him beat up, Spider-Man, he fights Iron Man, Captain America, but each time he's fighting them, they got the upper hand, and then right before they kill him, you just see reset. Then you see that apparently he kills Thing, Invisible Woman, and Human Torch. It pushes Mr. Fantastic to the point he kills him. And then you see the word reset again. And then it cuts to him in the UN where it reveals he basically took over the world. And he's like, yeah, I have brought democracy to the entire world. And my army is gonna we're gonna keep this peace. And if you want, you don't want to get hurt, you're gonna just, bend to me. So then it cuts to some sort of weird time jump, which is really hard to tell because the Red Hulk looks super fucking old, but Captain America looks exactly the same age, except he has a long beard and long hair, and there's some sort of new group called the Samarians or the Sanarians or something. And look, my geography knowledge is a little rusty after high school, but I'm pretty sure that's not a real country. So either it's a new nation or it's an alien race. Anyway, they're some sort of enemy that he's gonna fight against. And then at the end, it's revealed, oh, this is all a simulation. He has some sort of weird spear device that he's holding, and one of his Hulks, who's white, and I'm going to be honest, all these years, I've always wanted a blue Hulk. I've never thought there would be a white Hulk, but we are what we are. Anyway, it's basically, he asked him, is he sure that he wants to go through with this plan? And he basically says, oh yeah, baby, I'm I am fully there. So it's going to start next month in June. At the same time, we have, what was it called? Ultimate Rebirth or something. It's this other storyline that's going to kind of go parallel with this, where Miles Morales, who was briefly in the new Ultimate Universe, comes back in these things called origin boxes, and somehow they get away from him, start giving random people powers. So far we know somebody's going to get Wonder Man's powers, the Juggernaut's powers, Doctor Strange's powers, which everybody is all weird about. They're like this. How do you just put magic in a box? You don't put magic in a box. You put the Eye of Agamotto in a box. There you go. Bing, bang, boom. We got 2 Sorcerer Supremes. And then, so it's her. And then there's this guy called Holotis or something. He's a fanatic in the new Ultimate Universe who worships the Nihilist. And they bring up that the Nihilist has not been seen for so long that he's kind of like a creature of legend. So nobody knows if he's actually real, but he fights against the non-believers. So anyway, he's going to be what seems like the main threat. Okay, so Chip Zdarsky has said that the events of like Ultimate Rebirth are going to be like affecting Avengers Armageddon, which means probably one of the origin boxes is going to be given to whoever is going to be the actual main bad guy. Because so far it seems like there's going to be a common threat for the Red Hulk's team and the Avengers have to fight against. So anyway, the other event is going to be Hulk War Fertile Rage. Now, anybody who knows me will know I am a massive Hulk fan. Right? When I was a kid, I was very sick. I had to have open heart surgery multiple times. And after my second open heart surgery, my mom brought me to Hobby Shop to pick up a model car for my stepdad. And while we did that, she told me I could pick whatever comic books I wanted. So I'm looking around. I was like, I saw on the cover of this comic book was Bruce Banner and the Hulk, but the Hulk had long hair and a sword and tattoos, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here, man? So I grabbed issues 601 to 605 at the time, and as soon as we got home, I read through them, and I'm like, the Hulk has a son? Bruce Banner lost his powers? What's going on? And then I had to read the Red Hulk comics, and so it ignited my love of the Hulk. So I've been reading him for years. I took a break during the Dani run for obvious reasons. Don't turn the fucking Hulk into a spaceship, my guy. Anyway, he got what was coming to him. Anyway, so I'm gonna be honest. After the Dani run, I took a break from the Hulk because like I said, I thought the whole turning the Hulk into a spaceship thing was so stupid. And I'm gonna be honest, Ryan Ottley's art, I'll be real, it did not pull me into this title. Like, I can read the shittiest comic books of all time. If the art is good, I'm there. I'll read it. I will be happy about it, but I'll also read it just for the art alone. But Ryan Ottley's art kind of repelled me away. Johnny Cage's writing repelled me all the way away. But anyway, so Philip K. Johnson's, Hulk run, I missed the boat on it. Honestly, I didn't even know there was another Hulk title, and then by the time it was happening, I had no clue what was going on. So all I know is I remember seeing the comic book page for Infernal Hulk, and I'm like, what the heck? It goes, first there was Incredible, then there was Immortal, and now Infernal. I was like, oh crap. So I quickly started reading as much as I could from his the tail end of his run, and I was in. Like, I've been reading Infernal Hulk religiously. Like, I look forward to each new issue, and I think people don't realize, because there's this complaint that it's like, it's so slow, nothing is really happening. It's like, but it is though. The Infernal Hulk is like basically eating up most of the world. He can't be stopped. We've seen him, the military goes after him. He kills an entire army of soldiers and turns them into monsters. Iron Man gets an armor made from the power of God himself, and the Infernal Hulk shrugs it off, rips him out of the suit, and Iron Man had to run away with his tail between his legs. And then, the ending of Infernal Hulk is very obvious to me. It's going to be Bruce Banner is going to have to amass an army. He's he's the only, there's a reason why the Infernal Hulk didn't kill Bruce. And I think it is because he can't. I think if he kills Bruce, he loses the power of the Hulk. I think they still have a connection, even though they're split. Like, every time Bruce Banner and the Hulk have been split, they've always still been connected. Like, the very first time when Bruce got pulled out and the Hulk was made into a mindless monster, the moment the Hulk started running off and going crazy, Bruce started getting sick. His body started getting unstable. So did the Hulk. They had to have the Vision basically pull them back together, or else they both died. The second time with Doctor Doom, when Doctor Doom basically surgically remove Bruce from the Hulk. The Hulk was fine, but you find out that Bruce, basically his brain got damaged and he was unstable until, Hulk held him in the middle of a gamma explosion and fucking flipped their roles. But the thing is, currently we're not dealing with science when it comes to the Hulk. We're dealing with magic. And I think Bruce and Banner are connected, spiritually. Their souls are still combined. Because the thing is, despite the whole DID thing, the Hulk and Banner are the same soul. I think all we have is that the Infernal Hulk took when he ripped Bruce out, I think he ripped Bruce's part of their soul out, and he kept all the other Hulks. Because if you haven't been reading, all the other Hulks are stuck within the Infernal Hulk. We have this one called the Fractured Sun, who I still don't know about, because I was under the impression that he was the Green Scar, but it's not. And then I was like, okay, well maybe he's the Savage Hulk. And no, he's not that either. Because we see that. We see both of them. We see the Savage Hulk, and inside their soul is he had a child's bedroom. We see Joe Fixit in a lounge with the Red Harpy, which means a piece of Betty's soul got ripped out too. And the Abomination. That's the thing is, I like magic. I feel like magic is the answer to all this. So we know during this synopsis of Infernal Hulk #9 that Bruce and Dr. Voodoo are gonna do something to free the Fractured Sun out. So at least I guess Bruce has one Hulk he can transform into. Because we know Bruce is seemingly cured, but at the same time it's how did that actually work, right? So anyway, we know, and during Hulk War Infernal Raid, that he is going to essentially kill the Infernal Hulk. He's going to essentially kill the Avengers. We know he's going to kill Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, Vision, maybe Captain Marvel, and this blonde woman. Just think nobody knows who the blonde woman really is. At first I'm maybe it's Black Widow, then I'm why would you turn into a harpy creature? That makes no sense. And then I'm like, and the only other blonde Avenger I can think of who's a woman is Captain Marvel. But we see her as some sort of energy thing. I'm unless the energy creature is Scarlet Witch. I don't know. And it's just dumb. So anyway, so the point I'm making is Hulk War Infernal Raid seems crazy. We know that we're going to see a bunch of other characters. We've already saw that Miles Morales and Spider-Boy are going to be. I don't think they're going to be major characters, but I think we're going to see them going up against Peter, who is now going to be turned into a gigantic spider with the Spider-Man part of him sticking out under it, which I think is pretty badass. We know that Iron Man is going to turn into this disgusting pink goo thing with pieces of his armor on him. It's fucking disgusting. Captain America might not be resurrected as a monster, because we see him just kind of crucified, being carried around by zombie soldiers, which very subtle, very subtle. Well, anyway, the point I'm making is I feel Marvel is doing a very good job. I know they got a lot of flack for ending the Ultimate Universe a little too early. Look, I'm still liking the Ultimate Universe, but I'm not gonna lie. I feel we could have got more. We could have got more stories. I feel Ultimate Endgame is rushing too much. They already killed off Spider-Man, but I don't think he's gonna stay dead. We know Kang is Tony. It was very obvious that Kang was Tony the entire time. We know that Doctor Doom, or Mr. Fantastic, whichever one you want to call him, we know that he's a double agent, even though he didn't want to be. And I don't see an end for them, be able to kill the Maker, I mean, thematic, story-wise, he's a good villain, but, I understand that, the only way his ultimate end game ends is his death. There's no other way to end this without killing him. But at the same time, he's already like that. That's the problem with the ending, honestly. The problem with the ending of the ultimate endgame is what happens to the world. Because if they use time travel to make the world go back the way it should be, then all the progress that we made in the story was for nothing. Why was Luke Cage, teaching passive nonviolence and teaching civil disobedience, and why on earth was, did Tony, use the Mortis engine to do all these things, and why did they send the Human Torch back in time to become the Vision? Like, all of those things that are like thematic, like, part of the story, they would be for nothing if at the end it's just, oh hey yeah, we reset everything and everything goes back the way it should have been before we did the Maker, screwed with it. And then, it's like, look, yeah, sure, Peter Parker would be like brought back to life, but like kind of silly things. See, again, the problem is also there were so many threads that had to be cut now because there's no more story. Like, Otto Octavius clearly trying to become the superior Spider-Man. Well, where'd that go? Nowhere, because the story is going to be ending, and Ultimate Spider-Man already ended. There's no Ultimate Spider-Man continuation, ends at issue 24. I don't even know what the Ultimate X-Men were doing, and I really want to read it, but just every time I go to buy it, I forget. That's the thing, I forget sometimes. But anyway, alright, screw it, I'm gonna say it. Jonathan Hickman needs to get his shit together as a writer. You can't keep introducing great concepts and then abandon them when you get bored. Alright, he did that with Krakoa. He basically was like, everybody's having so much fun, but instead of me, putting all my energy into making a great story, I'm just gonna bail out and you guys can handle it. It's like, okay, that was the first time he did that. I'm like, alright, screw it with Krakoa. But he did it again with Ultimates. You make this great universe, and then you abandon it, and you have Dennis Kantz take over, and it's like, that's, you're putting all that energy on that guy, and it's like, what was your plan? You came into this with no plan? Anyway, so that was my rant about the Ultimate Universe. Oh yeah, that was the point I was trying to make. I'm sorry, I rambled. The point is, I know Marvel got a lot of flack for how the Ultimate Universe is ending while DC still had the Absolute Universe. But, I'm sorry. But the point I'm making is, they got a lot of flack for it. But there's still good ideas in Marvel. But a lot of times, and I see this on TikTok, where they want to do this, and this, and you have these people on Comic Talk who are oh, doesn't matter, it's gonna reset at the end. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, fuck it. Everything's gotta go back to the status quo, But no. Don't let them tell you not to read what you want to read. You see something you think is good, it doesn't matter if it's gonna eventually end. Just read it. Just read it. That's my advice. As a comic reader, I can't tell you how many times I've had people tell me something I read sucks, and I just say I have to ignore it. One of my favorite comic books of all time is Flex Mentello, Man of Muscle Mystery. All right, quick plot discussion of it is about a guy called Wally Sage who's gonna kill himself. Right? No, real bright. Anyway, so Wally Sage called the suicide hotline, and he basically tells the person on the other end, hey, look, you're not going to talk me out of it. I'm not going to have second thoughts. I just want to talk about something important. I want to talk about comic books. And at the same time, Flex Mentello, Man of Muscle Mystery, he lived in his world, and his world is ending. And it's very clear that his world is going to end because, he's channel surfing in his apartment, and it just, there's a farmer who, on the news, who's like, world's gonna end, so I'm gonna shoot my son in a rocket ship, and I'm gonna send him to another planet. And it's like a, an homage to Superman. But anyway, so Flex goes to a diner, and he just kind of asks the obvious question, like, what happened to all the other superheroes? Like, I could have swore there were so many, and they all just disappeared. And then he also realized that this guy he knows called the Splosh disappeared. And the Splosh is kind of like a detective, a Rorschach question kind of guy. And so the entire comic book is Wally talking about his life and about comic books and how he used to he wrote comic books as a kid, he drew them, and he was so proud of them. And the thing, there's this scene where he talks about his uncle. He's like, oh yeah, my uncle, he took me to this bathhouse one time. And then he goes, and I remember I opened the door, and then you see in the flashback, Wally is about to turn the doorknob, and one of the superheroes that he made takes his hand and won't let Wally remember what happened in the bathhouse. And it's very clear what happened, Wally was abused. But the comic books protected him. The heroes helped him not have to deal with that trauma. And the more you read what happened, you see there's a reason why Wally is the way he is. They bring up he's 35. He has a girlfriend that he won't commit to. He's in a band that's gonna go nowhere. And it's you realize his life was a fucking mess. And it's no wonder that everything is bad. So, spoiler alert, the main bad guy of the comic book is a character called the Man in the Moon, who lives on the moon. So Flex Mentello shows up with this detective, a supervillain, to fight the Man in the Moon. And Flex Mentello, if you don't know, he has this power called muscle mystery, where if he flexes a muscle, he can do things where he can control reality, he can change it. So he, he flexes his muscle, and suddenly he knocks the Man in the Moon down, and the Man in the Moon is revealed to be Wally, a teenage Wally. And it's revealed that the reason why all the superheroes disappeared was when Wally was a teenager, he was so embarrassed by what he made as a child. He ripped up all the comic books, he threw them away, and the one comic book Wally couldn't bring himself to destroy was Flex Mentello. And that's revealed, that's why Flex can't, why he's the only hero left. Because Wally couldn't bring himself to destroy him. So Flex Mentello basically said to teenage Wally, hey look, you're a really smart kid, you're creative, and he goes, but a kid like you needs to go out and meet girls and hang out and have fun. And he just says this iconic line where he pulls out his hand and he just goes, gamble a stamp, I can make you a man. And young Wally says but what if the world is gonna end? And Flex goes, then I'll be there too. This is Flex Mentello signing out. Sorry, I got a boat because I feel it's so beautiful because at the end, Wally just is on the phone with the suicide hotline, and he just goes, yeah, he goes, I don't know, I've just been talking all this time. He goes, I guess it's time I finally get on with it, huh? And then he realizes that his cell phone that he's been talking to the person on has been dead the entire time. And then the question is, who was he on the phone with? And it's revealed to be the Splosh, calling him on a payphone. So, while he's talking, he notices that there's a crossword puzzle underneath his leg. And earlier, Flex Mentello met this old man who was I had amazing powers too once. If I just said my magic word, he goes, I get godlike powers. He goes, but I can't remember the word. So it turns out that the word was shaman. And the moment Wally, fills it out on the crossword puzzle, he gets imbued with this, celestial power. And then you see his girlfriend sitting in her apartment, and she sees a bright light, and then the final line just goes, can you see it? They're coming back. And he opens up the blind, and you see all these heroes flying out of the moon. And it goes, they're coming. And it just, Grant Morrison is in my opinion, it's wrote this very dark but uplifting story of just I feel it's depression. It's depression makes you forget who you are a lot of the time. I look back at a lot of things in my life, and I remember depression just ruined them. Like there was this. I've been wanting to work. I've been working on a comic book my entire the second half of my 20s. And I remember when I was a kid, the kernels of it were already there, and I was so embarrassed. I'm like, oh, this is bullshit. This is stupid. And I got rid of sketches. I got rid of like notes. And then one day, I just started writing it, and I realized, who the hell cares what anybody else thinks? Because the thing is with comic books is you're always going to find an audience. You're always going to find someone who will read it, who will vibe with what you're putting out. That's why when I see these people on Comic Talk who are they speak so definite about things. Like, they tell you shouldn't like something because it's not, it's like, you should save your money. This is, it's disrespectful to you as an audience that they put out this slop. They call it slop. They call somebody's hard work slop because they themselves don't like it or they themselves can't gel with it. And I just think that's a disservice, to comic books, to the writers. And I realize now I've been rambling again. The point was about Free Comic Book Day, and I know I rambled on. But I don't know. I think 2026 and 2027 are going to be a good year for comic books. I'm going to keep reading Avengers Armageddon and the Hulk's War and Fertile Rage. And, if they're good, I will let you know. If they suck, I'll let you know too. But at the same time, what the hell does my opinion matter, right? I'm just some schmuck on the internet. But the thing is, right, the reason why I say, you shouldn't take everybody's opinion as gospel in comic books. For example, I was having a conversation with a friend about why I didn't like One World Under Doom. All right? And here's the things I don't like. I don't like when there's, I noticed it with Avengers events. Like, in Avengers vs. X-Men that came out 14 years ago. And the entire story was that Phoenix was coming to the Earth. And, the X-Men were like, oh my god, this is great. If the Phoenix fuses with the mutant messiah, Hope Summers, he'll bring back the mutant race. And then the Avengers were like, wait guys, but the Phoenix could destroy the entire Earth. We have to do something about that. And the X-Men are like, whoa. We lost, a big population of our people. We deserve to be able to bring them back. And the Avengers are like, we get that, but we're afraid, and we feel like you should respect that. And the X-Men are like, fuck you, man. You guys never help us out when we need help. But the moment something that can help us might, screw you over, you guys are all, you guys are yelling at us? No. So there's eventually a whole fight on the moon. And then at the last second, right when the Phoenix is about to possess Hope, Iron Man shoots a missile at it, blows it up, splits it into 5 halves, and create the Phoenix Five, Cyclops, Namor, Emma Frost, Magic, and Colossus. So, here's the part of it that always annoyed me. The very next issue after they got their power, you find out that they were going around making the world a better place. They were they created free energy by convincing this race of aliens to just basically supply Earth with free energy. They were trying to undo global warming. They were doing all this great stuff. They basically told the UN, hey look, we'll keep on doing this, we'll keep on being benevolent, just don't fuck with us. Don't, attack us, don't do anything stupid. And then the UN tells the Avengers, well, how could we trust them? The Phoenix is a dangerous thing. So, the squad of Avengers breaks into the mutants' island Utopia, and they kidnap Hope Summers, and then the very next issue, Namor floods Wakanda, and to this day people are like, yeah, sure, Black Panther broke into his nation, attacked them, but did the Wakandans deserve to be flooded? Yes, their king declared war on another nation. What, you thought Utopia wasn't going to do anything? But it's the whole issue I have is, The mutants did nothing wrong. They were using this godlike power to do good. They were making the world a better place. And the Avengers were like, but we can't trust it because it's the Phoenix. And when Jean Grey was the Phoenix, he went crazy. It's like, okay, but the Phoenix was split 5 ways, which means that its immense power is diluted. Its influence on them was diluted. And each time they killed one of the Phoenix 5, the power then split and went back into the others, making them more and more unstable. So essentially, I feel like Marvel never learned their lesson when it came to writing. Because in One World Under Doom, when Doom basically was using his magic to make the world a better place, they decided to be like, do the rug pull of like, psych, he's not doing good, he's doing evil. But I think a better story potential would have been if the Avengers had to concede with the fact that somebody that they considered a villain was actually just doing good. And they have to accept that maybe they're the bad guys here. You know, like, why are we looking for, a rug pull? Why are we expecting Doom to, not be true to his word? But instead they were like, nope, Doom's evil, he's doing evil things, golly gee. And then they had him kill Valeria Richards, which is it's horrible. If you read the stories of him and her, he would never do anything that would put her in harm's way. But in One World Under Doom, you have to make him an irredeemable villain, so he kills her, and then he has to use his magic to kill himself to bring her back. And it's that's not good. To my opinion, that wasn't a great story. That wasn't a great decision. I think it would have been great if the story was, no, Doom is genuinely trying to do good with his power, and maybe, here's the thing, he could still die at the end, but it could be Doom's sacrifice to save the world, and then the Avengers have to realize, oh man, we were the bad guys here. But no, they don't want to do that. Marvel doesn't want to ever make the Avengers the bad guys. Even at the end of Avengers vs. X-Men, they have Captain America meet with Cyclops who's in prison, and he goes, Scott, maybe you were right that we're not doing enough for the mutants. I'm sorry. And it's what, is that supposed to be good enough, man? You're the symbol of America, and you literally were letting a group of people be persecuted because of how they were born. Again, I went on a rant, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, this is a crazy first episode, but anyway, that's all I got for today. I promise the next one will be a lot more concise and a lot more less rambling. But if you enjoyed my rambling, let me know. You have a good one.